Welcome to the Weekly Leadership Experience, a place for leaders to get inspired, be challenged, and grow. I am your host, Reshad Oberlander. Let's get started. So last week, I shared a rating and review, and I'm going to continue to do so as the ratings and reviews continue to come in. So make sure you head over to Apple Podcasts and leave me a rating, leave me a review, make sure to subscribe, and your rating and review could be featured on a future episode. Today's rating and review comes from Evidence Canada 387 for 5 stars. It's refreshingly organic, professionally produced, yet enticingly simple. Great content. Good to see young leaders emerging with fresh perspective on timeless topics. Well done. I look forward to listening to the weekly edition. Thank you so much for this review. I really appreciate it. Wonderful and kind words. Thank you so much. And now, on with today's show. Hello and welcome to this week's episode. I'm so glad you've joined me today. Today I want to talk to you about goals. Let's talk about goals. You know, I'm a goals guy. I have been for as long as I can remember. I've been setting goals for myself since I was a teenager, and it's something that really drives me and motivates me. I really like the process of setting goals. I've read a lot about goals. I've studied a lot about goals, and I think that goals are just a really great practice to, drive your success and drive your life forward in a lot of ways. And there's a ton of different ways to do it, and there's lots of different material. And, if you Google goals, you could find more information than you ever care to read about. But goals really, for me, I think are having a vision, purpose, and direction in life. And I think it's a very important thing, and I think that it will help you achieve more with your time. I think that goals for me have a little bit to do with my competitive nature and the buzz I get from just checking things off and checking off a bunch of accomplishments. But I think that everyone can benefit in a lot of different ways in setting goals. And there's been a mountain of research done on goal setting. It is a widely researched subject. It continues to be a widely researched subject. And again, if you were to look for, goal setting research, or if you went on some of the various university websites, you could find an absolute ton of information on goal setting, the effectiveness of goal setting, how to goal set, and so on. And there's a very long list of information there. Now, one of the most famous studies on goal setting is from Harvard University. The study was conducted over a period of time, and it revealed some very interesting statistics and sort of lessons that we can draw from what it was uncovered. So what they found was that 83% of the population don't have goals. They just don't have them. And it's not that they don't have direction in life and what have you, but they don't have I want to achieve this or I want to achieve that. There is no goal for them. Now, from that, they found that 14% of the population have goals in mind, but they don't write them down. So they know what they want to do, but they don't write these things down. So they just kind of keep them filed away in their head, and they go on with their life, and they want to achieve certain things, and away they go. The other 3% of the population, making up your 100% total, have goals, and they write them down. And, this is where this study gets a little crazy. It's a little bit wild when you look at the results these three different groups are experiencing. And we don't know what the exact baseline is in this regard, but they found that the 14% of people with goals in mind but not written down, they were actually shown to be 10 times more successful than the 83% of the population without goals. That's 10 times. That's a lot more successful. Even if you were just taking, I have $100 and someone else has 1,000. That's 10 times more successful. And of course, success is not just measured in terms of monetary gain or, what have you, but there's various aspects of success that make up what it means to be successful for you, and what's successful for you is not going to be what's successful for me. But the concept there is that the people that just have goals in mind and don't even write them down actually are 10 times more successful than people that have no goals and nothing in mind. They sort of just kind of, in some ways they become successful, but, they don't necessarily, deliberately drive themselves towards an end goal. Now, even more crazy than 10 times more successful is the 3% of the population with goals and writing down those goals. They were shown to be 3 times more successful than the 14%. 3 times more successful than the 14%. So wait a minute. You realize that means that this group, 3 times 10 is 30. So 30 times more successful than people without goals. So 14% are 10 times more successful than people without goals. People that write down their goals are 30 times more successful than people without goals. I mean, stop here for a moment. If you only take one thing out of this episode, and that is to start having and writing down goals, I've done my job. Seriously, do it. I mean, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. You can be even if you're in the 14% of the population, you're doing more than the other 80 odd percent of the world. Like, you're well ahead of the curve at that point. If you're writing down your goals and you're being deliberate and intentional about achieving things in life and in your business and your leadership and where you want to go, like, what is it going to be like? What is that going to look like in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years, in 50 years, to be like, I've been setting goals and deliberate and intentional about this, and to be realizing that you've been able to achieve and be so much more successful than not doing that. I think it was Wayne Gretzky that said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So take the shot and try. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Of course, most people are familiar with goal setting in one form or another. There's a plethora of great resources out there on how to goal set and how to achieve goals. And there's various methodologies, and sometimes every time you turn around, there's like someone else with another journal or a way to set goals or how to go through the process. And so I think sometimes the methodology is beside the point. And again, going back to what I just said, is if you at least just start setting some goals and writing them down for yourself, it doesn't really matter how you get there. I don't care whose method you use, just start doing it. I've definitely consumed my fair share of head knowledge on the subject. And, if you ever wanted to talk to me for hours on end, start asking me about goal setting, because I really love it. I'm passionate about it. And as I've said several times, I think that there's incredible value in goal setting for myself and for really anyone who wants to, participate in the practice. One of the things I've learned about goals is they are, not always what they are cracked up to be. And let me tell you what I mean, but through a quick story. When I was in my early 20s, I attended business school for a diploma in management studies. I'm an ambitious sort, so I decided I was going to get excellent scores in all my classes. I also decided that coming out of my diploma, I wanted to earn over $100,000 per year within my first few years of graduating. Some of my professors and fellow students thought that to be quite the stretch. And my competitive nature says, well, watch me, because I'm going to do what you say I can't do, which is another story entirely. But fast forward a few years, and I had not only achieved my goal, but I made it by a good margin. Hooray. Awesome. Let's get this guy a trophy, a medal, fanfare, parade. Yeah, but really that's about it. I mean, not that I got a trophy or a fanfare or anything like that, but I achieved my goal. I made it. Kind of big deal, really. Looking back on this, achieving the goal actually left kind of a void. and now it doesn't hold any meaning for me. There is no real substance to achieving the goal and why I wanted to achieve it, and it doesn't reflect truly who I wanted to become. So what I needed then, and what I'm going to show you now, is that although goals are good, and they are, in my opinion, necessary and are incredibly valuable, they need to be tested. What I want you to do when you're setting your goals is use this little tool I developed called AIM to test your goals. And AIM stands for authenticity, importance, and meaningfulness. So let's expand on that a little bit. Authenticity is what you need to examine about your goal. Is your goal authentic to you, or is it something you think is expected of you? That is to say, are you doing it to please someone else or fulfill someone else's expectations of you? Does your goal align with who you are, what you stand for, and what you want to accomplish in life? So reflect on those things around authenticity when you're setting your goal. The next thing is importance. How important is this goal to you or to someone else? Is it something you must do, or would it be nice to do? In the scheme of life, how crucial is it that you achieve this goal? At the end of your life, is this something that you will wish you had done or done without? So ask yourselves these questions around importance when you're setting this goal. The third thing in AIM is meaningfulness. And meaningfulness is a series of questions about what does this goal mean to you. And you can do this to really determine how meaningful this goal is. What does this goal mean to you? What will it mean to achieve the goal, and what is the outcome? And what would it mean not to achieve the goal? So what would it mean to achieve the goal, and what would it mean not to achieve the goal? By testing our goals against this framework, I believe we can screen out goals that don't actually serve a real purpose in our lives, that actually don't add value to your overarching purpose and your goals and your direction. I believe that you can find a greater sense of fulfillment in your goals, and that when you achieve those goals, you're actually going to have a real sense of accomplishment and fulfillment, and you're not going to have that void that I felt achieving that goal. And that there are other goals I could talk about that left me with that feeling, but you're going to be able to create more meaningful results for yourself and for your business and for your leadership and your team and wherever those goals might take you. So test your goals. I don't have to say it again, but goals are important and are useful and are good. Done correctly, they can bring incredible fulfillment and incredible direction and purpose in life, but they do need to be tested against these factors, against authenticity, against importance, and against meaningfulness. So I encourage you to try this next time you're setting some goals for yourself or for your team, and see how much more fulfillment and results you can gain through them. I'd love to hear what you thought about this podcast and what you got out of it. So drop me a line, email me, hit me up on social. I look forward to speaking with you again next week. Stay awesome. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, would you head over to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe, leave me a rating, leave me a review, and share this with a friend. It spreads the word and helps the podcast grow. You can also find me on social media at R.E. Oberlander. Until next time, stay awesome.